And so they used all the film study that they had been doing against them. Really brilliant. I mean, that's high level football. It happens it's interesting. It happens in high school football. You know, I'll give you a quick story about some of that. You know, we played a team this past season, and let's talk a little football, I guess, right? You guys, maybe some of you are interested in some X's and O's, how coaches go about winning football games. Listen to this pretty interesting story. So obviously, I coach high school football, and one of the things in high school football now is like you get film on every opponent usually, and you get to watch every play that they do, and you can input data that tells you what they're likely to do. It talks about what they're likely. It can predict what they're likely to do. But there's all sorts of data in high school football, and you know there's not like full blown analytic teams yet in the majority of high schools, but there are some high schools that really utilize that analytic information, and it's really interesting because there are some schools that obviously and some coaches that are obviously just against it because they're super old school. Okay. But basically, the way high school football works now is, before we play you, we can see, most of the games or all the games that you've played. We can label all the plays that you run. And so we can know pretty much what you've done before everything, right? And then when we play you in a game, like the goal is to try to, run plays maybe that your opponent hasn't seen. So maybe they can't counter them or stop them. And maybe you're able to. Technically, they're out of Smyrna, Tennessee. But we played a team called Stewart's Creek High School. And it was really interesting. One of our former coaches was on that staff. And so they knew us in a very intimate way. Like we coached with this guy for, I think, a couple of years. So he knew the way we operated. He knew that we would study film. He knew, we know tendencies, right? Like if you have a tendency that like every first down that's 1st and 15 or more, you're running the ball, we know that you're running the ball 1st and 15, or which is what most teams do. Or if we know that your tendency on 3rd and 4 or less is that you're going to throw it 90% of the time, well, then we're going to use that kind of information to make our play call. And so basically, this staff, okay, this coaching football staff in high school, what they decided to do is they ran a specific kind of play as the first play of every scrimmage they did. Genius. Okay? It was a screen. So literally every single game or scrimmage that they played in the summer and in the fall, right before the regular season started, they ran a screen. All right? And we knew that. Like obviously we were going to see the film too, And so us being super analytical and us being so tendency oriented, we told our kids that. And so our kids are on the lookout for a screen first play of the game, right off the bat. And if you haven't thought about what's going to happen here, same. We didn't think about this either. Literally, I don't think I heard one coach mention it on staff the entire time we talked about it. Oh, the only thing that we mentioned was, yeah, every first play is a screen. Like it became trivia in our meetings, right? We'd be like, oh yeah, you guys see every play is a screen. Every first play of this screen, because like that's just something that if you're watching film and you're studying your opponent, right? You realize. So, anyways, Stewart's Creek comes out first play of the game, first play of the season. We've done all this film study. We're all ready to go. We're pumped up, right? Screen, and they fake the screen. And guy goes, he acts like he's blocking, and he just goes right down the field, wide open. All of us got tricked. I think they incompleted the pass. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I think they actually they just didn't connect for whatever reason. I don't know. They might have completed it and I don't think they scored on the first play, right? But it's just one of those things that kind of tells you like the different intricacies of even high school football. So it always amazes me whenever you've got these people on Twitter, these newspaper writers that just like know nothing about the game or know very little about the game, and then they try to bash these coaches and bash the players, and it just blows my mind. I feel, yeah, but that's just the way it is, though, right? Like everybody always is going to be a critic. Like that's just the way it is. There's people that critique us. How did you not know that it was going to be a fake screen? I mean, you studied the film. You should have known, you know? And you're just like, hey, they just got us, man. Like, that's just good coaching. You know what I mean? Like, that's just knowing your opponent and taking advantage of what they know. And, like, that is the definition of good coaching. So, I don't know, interesting things. And like I said, high school football is, it's changed. It's no longer, you're driving to a Waffle House and exchanging video cassette film with somebody. You're sitting in your house and you're sending your film through the internet to other coaches now. And everybody on your team can watch the film. You can track how much they're watching. That's the creepiest thing about this program. I'll give it this name. So like most teams use what's called Hudl, Hudl, right? And what's so interesting about Hudl is it's almost like it's like the only thing that coaches can use because everybody uses it, right? Like once again, it's not a monopoly, but it's the most available thing and the best thing that high school coaches have. And they can use it in like basketball, football, soccer, volleyball, like everything. Like every sport uses Hudl pretty much. And basically Hudl records your game and like it breaks the plays up play by play. And then you can dissect each play. And Hudl is awesome. Like Hudl has changed the way, like Hudl has made football, like I feel like it's made it better because we know tendencies so well. We can see what you do so well now, and the kids watch it. We'll go through in our program. We'll look at your film time and determine whether or not you're playing. Like I'll have kids that won't watch film the entire week before a game, right? And we can't do that. We can't accept that. That's not something that we can tolerate as a program. So we don't play you. If you show up on Friday night and you haven't watched any minutes of film, we just don't play you. You could be the best player that we have, and we can't play you because you don't know like you didn't prep for the game. You didn't study for the test, right? You just tried to show up and just tried to like, yeah, let me take this. And the thing is, you can't do that. Like you can do that in some leagues, but you can't do that in where we play. And it's happening a lot more across like bigger schools, like populations of like 1,500, 1,200, or even 1,000. Some of these private schools have all the things that small colleges have. But Hudl has like changed the game in football. One of the craziest things that not most people know is there's actually something called Hudl Sideline. And Hudl Sideline, what it is it actually allows you to watch replays of the game in the middle of the game. So, like a lot of the time, what you'll see happen is you'll actually see us go ahead and go to the sideline right after, like say the possession ends or whatever, and offense is now switching over to defense. So we had the ball, now we don't. So when we come to the sideline, when we come off the field, instantly we can be showing our players, our athletes, what happened the last drive. So like it just happened, and we can immediately correct it. That is chess, right? and so what ends up happening in the high school level is the teams with more money, the schools that have more funding, are able to buy these things. And the schools that are not able to buy them don't. And sometimes that can make a difference in you winning the game. Because if you can't see what your opponent is doing and you can't like stop them because you can't see it, then that's going to cause you to lose a game. And, I don't know how many of you have ever dealt with like teenage athletes or like athletes in general, but like they're not super accurate in telling you what just happened. You know what I mean? Like we'll have so many kids come off the field, they're like, "Coach, I got double teamed," and literally like 4 guys will say they got double teamed, and you're just like, yo, all right, there's only 11 people out there. if 4 of you got double teamed, that means 8 people we're like right there. Where's why didn't we do something else? And so like that's just not really what happens. Kids and athletes just go through the heat of the competition, and sometimes you don't remember things right. So the way that you're able to fix it is you're able to come back to the sideline and you're able to pull up what just happened, legitimately what just happened on the film, and you're able to dissect. Okay, this is what they're doing, and the reason why they're being successful right now is this. So in order for us to win the game or for us to be more productive, we're going to have to change this scheme by doing this. Maybe it's, bumping an extra guy over. Maybe it's, motioning a guy. Maybe it's our splits getting wider on the line of scrimmage. Maybe it's we start long counting more. There's so many things that you see off of these Hudl sideline clips that immediately allow you to make instant adjustments. And that's the name of the game in football. That's what makes football the most interesting team sport in the entire world. Soccer's up there obviously, but like in terms of like football plays have to, like, if one person doesn't do their job, the whole play is just done. You know what I mean? So like if you can fix that one player and you can see it on the sideline, that can be the difference in you winning the game. That's why like it's so fun. Every time we watch football. Nick showed up to one of our games one year, one season, and he said, Tim, the one thing that I remember hearing, get him. That's what they would say in the States. Get him. Come on, guys, get him. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't even like I guess it was just exactly what you would imagine it would be, right? But like just the idea that there's that much of a disconnect between like the actual instruction in football and like the people in the crowd is just hilarious. Yeah, get them. I love hearing that one, and as a wide receiver coach, my favorite one is catch the ball. That is the best coaching point ever. As a wide receiver, your job is to catch the ball, right? So like that is, dude, I'll have coaches just scream that at the kids that I coach. And I'm just standing there like, dude, I'm sure that is like exactly what's going to help them catch the ball next time. Like by you screaming, catch the ball, that is what's going to make them catch the ball next time. Exactly. Like, no doubt. You mean wait a minute, it's not? Negative reinforcement doesn't work like that? Like my bad. I didn't realize that. You know what I mean? Like you just, like if you're going to coach, have something better to say. It could even be as simple as look the ball in, right? But catch the ball. What kind of coaching point is that? Of course, that's what he's trying to do. That's his purpose, right? Our guys block a lot, but the purpose of being a wide receiver is to, when the ball's thrown at you, you catch it. So I think he knows that. Maybe you can help him out and give him another coaching point. I don't know. It's kind of like the people in the crowd that's, Coach, run the ball. All right, you got a run play, man? Like specific one, not just like run the ball. Like you know what the plays are. I don't know, man. It's comical, but that's what like life is, though, right? It's a bunch of every now and then you got a bunch of people that are trying to be armchair quarterbacks. They're trying to backseat drive. They're trying to critique because they're better at critiquing than they are at actually doing. And that's a lot of coaches too, myself included sometimes. That's one thing that I've tried to get better at. It's not, you got a lot of the time in a football game, you've got a little bit of time, as in seconds, to tell the player what you need out of them. And so by saying phrases like catch the ball or, hit them or get them or, those kind of things don't make a difference in a game. It's the little things that you use to motivate them. You know, some people will say, well, that is motivating him. I'm yelling at him. You know, hey, all right, man, more power to you. But that also kind of shows what kind of leader you are, I believe, right? I don't know. I've seen so many coaches kind of always say, you know, if my first instinct is to yell, it's because I don't know what else to do to communicate to you. Think about that for a second. That's deep. That's why coaching is like so heavy sometimes, right? Because it really like makes you think about what you do as a person.